So Dennis, you almost didn't show up to work. I mean, to this video today. What happened, man?
Well,
Where
I,
did it
I,
go
I was
wrong?
planning on showing up to the video today. It's just, I had, this is one of those days where, like yesterday, I was very strategic in my day. Before I finished for the day, I had all of today planned out. I had, the content I was going to release. I had my workout planned, my meals, everything. And then, as you get going, as you get going through the day, and then all of a sudden, it's like bam, whiplash. Everything that you had planned on doing gets sidetracked in some way, shape, or form. And so it's it's easy at that time to like go, man, I'm gonna just go back to bed. Give up for today and go back to bed. And really, what it is that I wanted to talk about today is how do we take and get ourselves out of our own way, not in a sabotage way, but how do we get out of our mindset when the best laid plans get sidetracked? I'm sure
Okay,
that you've experienced this as well.
all the time. And you know what's the worst that can happen? Which actually happened today. We were going to have a guest, and I had lined up, and everything was ready. She had committed, and everything was a go. And I said, we'll touch base at 9. We'll go live at 9:30. At about 8:54, I get a message saying, "Oh, I'm being called into." I'm like, into what meeting? You know what? So we had this little conversation. I said, "Let me accommodate. Let me just shift. We can go early." And then in a few sentences, I realized she's basically just copping out. So I was like, "Okay, great, happy for you." So, especially somebody referred to this event the other day, and somebody said, empty my studio. Now, what happens is if you have a live show planned and if a guest disappears, now if you've got 4 guests and 2 don't appear, that's all right. If you have 1 guest and that bugger doesn't show up, you are effed.
Right.
The show will happen at supposing 10 p.m. You're live, you're on, and your guest has disappeared. So
Yes.
if it be a politician, I would just say, you know what, man, you screwed up. You should have been here. Now I'm just gonna ask you the questions and give the answers on your behalf because you copped out. Yeah, and with
Yeah.
time I learned that I learned not to make plans with other people. Now I've learned this the very hard way, and I think I've learned this only in the past couple of years that I just don't make plans with anybody. I'm going to go, this is my schedule. You want to jump in? Please do. If not, I'm happy for you. But this also, I'm speaking only in my business of broadcasting. I have learned very well to have these endless monologues. So I can just go on a rant for hours, literally hours. Now, in your business, I don't know how that works. Like if you're depending to, please tell me how. It seems like you haven't yet learned to cope with it, but go specific.
Well, as far as learning to cope with it, I think what it is I still have an emotional reaction like everybody else. It's having to take and just realize and understand that, like, you know what? It's kind of that old adage of the show must go on, right? And
Yeah.
and so for me, part of in my world, in my business, it is, I people come to me because they're having problems. People come to me because they're looking for solutions. And so
Yeah.
so if I'm not able to, I feel an obligation and a responsibility to them, even when things in my day aren't necessarily going exactly the way I had planned. And I think what it comes down to is sometimes we set ourselves up kind of to fail because we get too attached to our expectations. So for me, it was, I felt like the rug got pulled out from under me today. And I had to take it and like go, okay, wait a second. What am I going to do now? Because I had this plan. I got up, I went on my workout, and here we go. We're going to go forward. And then it just like the rug got pulled out from under me. And so as far as coping with it, I don't know. Yes, it affects me. I think that as I've gotten a little bit older, instead of going outside and smoking cigarettes or doing something unhealthy, it's kind of having to adopt a process to get my mindset back on track. Otherwise, I get sidetracked, and if I get sidetracked, I can pretty much scrap the day.
Oh yeah, I get sidetracked a lot, and I get severely. I wouldn't scrap the day. I could scrap the month.
Oh, I listen. I've been in those places too, and it's really, really easy. And I think the thing is that, like, again, we create these. It's like, oh wow, I did my planning. I did everything the right way, And what we always have to remember is that when we are dealing with other people, when we're dealing with other people or we're waiting on other people, like they can have a bad day or a bad moment as well. And so now is it that their bad moment? Am I going to allow their bad moment or their, you know, them pulling out? Kind of like our colleague that was going to your colleague that was going to join us today. I mean, it would have been easy to just go, F it, right? But we already see that there's enough people that have signed on that are waiting. So this kind of goes to what we were talking about yesterday about still showing up. But this was a day where I showed up and I felt like I got kicked in the stomach. And now I have to take and figure out, okay, wait a minute, I've got this to do today, I've got this to do today, and I still have obligations and responsibilities and things I wish to get accomplished.
I'm going to be honest, I'm so glad I've partnered with you on this reboot and not somebody else because, even though I've known you a long time, this is really the first time we're actually having these conversations, even though it's a mutual intellectual masturbation we have. But the thing is, but the thing is, I'm realizing it's always very important to have the right partner, and we both talk 9 to a dozen, and we both bullshit artists, so that works out well. So even if we have a guest who doesn't show up, who cares, man? If it was somebody else who wouldn't have so much input, then it becomes a problem. But here, Rafia didn't like my comment, but that's what it's called. I mean, I'm sorry, we all adults, and that's really what it is, intellectual masturbation. So my point here is, okay, now, at times, you don't want to deliver, but the thing is, and I want to give this example here. Dennis had never done these live streams, and when I talked to him about 3 months ago that we're going to do it, then it didn't happen for one reason or the other, and now finally it did happen. But we kept talking about it. So what I'm trying to explain here is that we did not give up on the idea. I floated it a few months ago. He said, "Yeah, I'm game," but out of my laziness, it didn't happen. And then came this lockdown, which suddenly became an opportunity. And for the first 4 weeks, I was so pulled back or pulled down. I didn't really want to do anything, and I think I wasted all of March that way. It's only when April happened I realized this is not ending. I figured I got to do something with my life. So interestingly, the projects I had on before this, I've abandoned them. We're talking about Squirrel Brain. I've abandoned them, and my client is saying, "Hey, what about him?" I said, "I don't want to do it, man. I just don't feel like it. Right. I'll discuss it when I feel like it again." But guess what's happened here? Now Dennis is actually starting his own broadcast on your own channel. Dennis, talk about it. Please tell us.
That's correct.
Plug it in, man.
I'll be starting a broadcast of my own, and this is this is something I had toyed with for a long time, and truthfully, I would always find excuses. I'd always find excuses as to not do it, or some other reason, and when it all comes down to it, it's just that I just didn't have the stones to actually put myself out there like this. And I think, this is what I like about this platform and stuff, is that we can be transparent. All of us, we put on, especially those on a public figure type of role, we put on a mask every time we meet the public. And this show, what I like about it is it allows us to kind of get behind the mask a little bit and to talk about some authentic challenges that I think every human experiences. Again, like I said this morning, let me back up. Yes, the broadcast I'm doing is going to be called Back to the Basics, and as it gets going more, I will be talking more about it. It's just simply a matter of I'm involved in creating a movement of let's just take and get back to the basics. Let's look at our religion, let's look at our faith, let's look at our health, let's look at our diet, let's just look at our whole overall existence right now, tone it down a little bit, and let's just kind of get back to the basics of what we know makes us successful instead of constantly chasing shiny hooks.
I think that's fantastic, and you know what? Whenever possible, I'd love to jump in on this conversation because it really, really interests me. And the thing is, maybe this whole crisis that's going on right now is a push towards that direction, that we need to go back to the basics, and we need to talk about that as well. that this whole thing that's going on right now is really a punch in the face from nature saying, rethink this whole world you've created is not necessarily the right world. So going back to the basics is quite important. So when are you starting, Dennis?
I'm hoping to have a launch date. Let me pull up my calendar. I have a launch date of May 18th. So that's a Monday, May 18th, and I am already creating.
Dude, hang on, Ma. That's 18 days from today. What the hell are you doing?
I'm getting everything ready. I'm getting my website. I'm getting everything congruent for that launch. And truthfully, that's my target date. I know my work style, and I'm actually almost done. So I got my YouTube approval today. So it's probably going to get pushed up. I would anticipate it probably, let's see, today's the 1st, so probably the first episode is going to be on the 11th, thereabout.
Oh, come on.
No!
Yeah.
I have launched too quickly before with things.
What's that you do? Come on, you just click go live. What's the big deal, man?
Hey, I'm getting started, FQ. I'm not a experienced broadcaster like you. So I'm just kind of getting started. I'm taking some steps.
It's Friday 1st May. Friday 1st May. I'll let you off the weekend, 2nd, 3rd. 4th, we're going it. I'm going to, 4th, we're going it. I'm telling you, do it. You know what? 17 days, are you kidding me?
Well, like I said, it's just, it's
you,
probably
sir,
not.
are procrastinating. You're procrastinating.
No, I don't think, I actually am not procrastinating. This is the most I have ever moved forward towards this project. And I procrastinated on it for 2 years.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But let's do it on the 4th.
Very good. I will get something ready to do on the 4th, and at least to announce it. So, getting the artwork and everything else taken care of. What I'm doing
you don't. What artwork? You need nothing. Yes, I'll make you one of these, bro. Do it. Come on.
So I am learning the systems so that I can come on and operate it. And
I'll show you. So. Don't worry about it. Okay, let's take a question.
Yeah.
Someone around says, don't you think we must be ready for a little bit of up and down in ground life? Yes, I expect it. I completely expect ups and downs. But you know what? When people screw up on the commitments, and no, I do not tolerate that, and I do not accept it. I do not like it. You know what? Because I keep my commitments, you got to keep your commitments, unless you have a very, very good reason. If you're screwing up on your commitment just because, no, you make a commitment, you show up, bro. That's important. Okay.
Well, and I just want to tag on to that. When you make a commitment to be somewhere, like other people are depending upon you, and so you're not just. It's not just kind of backing out on yourself. You're actually letting other people down. And I'm just going to come out and say, like, I think one of the things that I just find to be so encouraging is when people will just actually come out and tell me no, I don't want to do that. I'm not comfortable with that. So it's kind of about me coming in and I'm trying to, where the failure in this for me, whether it's a failure or not, for me, it comes down to, can I take the expectation is that you said yes, you would do something, and now you're backing out. So that leaves other people kind of holding the bag.
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
I think it's just important to remember how our actions, how our comments actually affect other people. And so I am just going to encourage everyone, if you are asked or approached to do something that you don't want to do, say no. Just say no.
Yeah. Don't commit and back off, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I like I said, I'd rather be told no, or I'd rather be given the finger than to be, left kind of holding the bag. So
that's the message. That's an actual conversation Dennis and I had a little while ago, went live, and Dennis said, you know what, I'm too full of piss and vinegar, I don't want to go on. So I actually copy-pasted that into the description of this video. Yeah, because he has apple cider vinegar every morning, so he was referring to that. Now here's a message. There you go. Yeah, back to basics, man. This is back to basics.
Mr. Munir, thank you. Like I completely agree. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of to the same. Why I'm now. For a long time, I would run with my headset in. I'd go on my trail hikes and stuff with my headset in, and I've stopped doing that. And part of the reason is so that I can hear the birds, so that I can. Well, another reason is because when I'm on the trail, there's a lot of people on bicycles that I don't like them like riding up underneath me. So it's a little bit more of a situational awareness thing, but it's nice to be able to hear the sounds of the morning. It's nice to be able to hear just the world waking up and paying attention to the things that, normally we just kind of, we tune out. We tune out, and I'm not saying there's a blame or being critical of that. We just get busy, and I've said this multiple times through this broadcast, is that I am very, very, I don't like it that people are dying, but as far as giving the world a reset, for that, I am appreciative to COVID.
And appreciative for nature who used COVID. So, Mr. Danish, welcome aboard.
Nice to see you, Mr. Danish.
Would you like to add something, Danish?
Yeah, I thought yeah, I just want to ask regarding this current situation. The way things are going, it's like there are so many controversial theories that are going on around regarding the vaccine. I really like to hear about this vaccination stuff. Are they preparing for us for vaccinated, like compulsory to go around and roam around? Then you will get something out of there. Like if you want to get a job, you will be vaccinated for sure for this COVID-19 thing. I know this theory is very, controversial, but I want to hear about this from you guys.
So if a vaccine is going to save you, where's the problem?
Yeah, agreed. But I'm just talking about the vaccination stuff, which I have heard that Mr. Bill Gates is preparing some kind of, chip-based vaccination.
Okay.
Maybe possible. So it's just like if we are, it can be are we going to a digital slavery stuff? Are we going to that
digital slavery?
era? I don't know. Correct.
You know what? Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Forget Bill Gates. Forget coronavirus. Forget everything. How long do you think this will not happen? Do you really think eventually we will not have subcutaneous or embedded computing in us? Do you think that maybe not in 2020, but 2025? How long can you go on without that?
See, we are going. The directions is taking us all towards that era. But is this right for like a human being to get tracked and getting getting a vaccination which he doesn't want?
No. You don't understand it that way. There was a time when you had to give chickens to get a goat. That's what the currency was, barter. Mm-hmm. Then came money, so people had money to earn and to buy things with. Then came debit cards, where you would stick a debit card, and then came credit cards, and then came credit cards which used to be swiped. Then came credit cards which used to be stuck in a machine. Then came credit cards which were contactless, and you just dinged it. Then came mobile payments, your Apple Pay and Google Pay and Samsung Pay and WeChat Pay. It is eventually going to go towards an electronic. How long do you think you'll have paper? We will have electronic currency. You will be using and you know what? You're already being tracked with this. Do you think this is not tracking you? Hear this. You know what's beautiful? Late last night, hear me. Let me tell you. Late last night, this is about 4 a.m., it was so hot we couldn't sleep in the room. And I got up trying to fix the air conditioner because the temperature had suddenly gone up. And half sleepy, I told my wife, you know what, I want to stick a fan in the bedroom tomorrow. And guess what? Today, my social media has been showing me fan advertising. So my Google speakers, which is one in every room, the bugger's listening all the time.
Exactly. What I'm saying.
What's wrong with it? I love it. I know exactly where to find the fan now.
I know, Faisal, it's good for you. For me, it's getting something called like interrupting my way of life. If I doesn't want to get vaccinated, they will make sure that they will put a vaccination, chip-based vaccination, and they might break your DNA. They might break your DNA as well. They can control it. So the problem of what I'm talking about, this pandemic thing, people are making so much fuss about it, and eventually, if you are vaccinated, then you will get a job. Then you can go to the groceries. Then you can go out and do stuff. I'm talking about that thing. If you have seen, like Equilibrium film and whatever the films are showing in that sci-fi movies, we are going to that direction. I'm just, this is my thought.
So
Is this right? Is this right for a human being who doesn't want any kind of vaccination?
the same question was
Because
asked when when
then
electricity was
what?
invented. People were like, electricity is a crime and is the devil's creation. It's all right, man. You'll get used to it.
No.
Okay,
I'm talking about
I
there are two
experimented with
things.
this son of a bitch. This is my Google speaker, okay? Dennis, you're gonna love this. All right?
Yeah.
Look at my whisper. Okay, Google. Bloody thing picks it up. I whispered,
Sorry, I didn't understand.
I
I tested whispering across a room
It happens to me as well.
15 feet away, and I would just go, okay, Google. Bloody thing picks it up. It's got an amazing
So,
microphone.
Faisal, don't you think this is? I agreed. This is amazing microphone. I know it a small, whisper it can hear. But is this not good for our social life? They are
It's
interrupting our
fantastic.
social life.
I know exactly where to get the fan now, Dennis.
Mr. Dinesh, I have a question. If you don't mind me asking, when you first started your comments, you mentioned the word slavery. So
Yeah.
really, so when you mention the word slavery, that's meaning that you have no choice. And what I'm going to propose, is, so like, if and my children are older, but like, if I want to have my children in the public education system, the public education system says that I have to vaccinate my children. So what I'm saying is ultimately I have a choice in that. It's kind of like, should I wear a mask or not? If I go to a retail establishment, do I want to wear a mask? No, I don't want to wear a mask. I have a big, beautiful beard that the world needs to see, right? So I don't want
Exactly.
to wear a mask. But if I want to enter that store, now what they've done is they've changed the requirements, and now I have a choice. I can say, you know what, I'm not doing it, and then guess what? I don't get to go inside. So I think instead of, I don't understand the words like slavery. I mean, unless because I'm an investor, unless I can buy and sell you. So if I can't buy and sell you, then really what I think it is that we're just being presented with different choices. Like, as far as microchips controlling our brains and injecting, vaccine, I don't know. I don't know. That's for those really smart people like Bill Gates and stuff like them to figure out. I don't know. What I know is that the things I can control are my choices. And if I don't feel like a slave, then I just look at it as I have an opportunity to make different choices. If I want to enter this store, they say I have to wear a mask. Well, I better go get my mask. Or
Exactly.
because they're not going to make accommodations for me. And I guess the question is why should they?
I mean, you talk about, having a vaccination check before you get a job. I've been an employer for the longest time. And you know what? While there was enough people for me to hire, I used to actually make them sign. It was part of the contract that if you have body odor, it's reason for me to fire you. If you can't, I'm not fucking with you. That's a fact. We had a contract which said if you have body odor, that's reason for me to fire you. One. Secondly, if you don't know what a deodorant is, somebody will teach you how to use deodorant. If you don't use a deodorant, we can fire you. And it is our right not to include you in meetings. And I used to make them sign it. You don't want to sign it? Screw.
I agreed. But Faisal, I think in your interview, you should have smelled them. I don't know. How do you know that?
No, I do. No, if you have body odor, or hey, dude, yes, but you know what?
Stand in the line, I will smell you,
2 weeks later, they come back and there's smelling again. No, man, fire bloody hose you. For all I care, I don't care. Go take a shower, dude.
And Mr. Dinesh, kind of to this point is,
Yeah, that's
like
personal hygiene is important. But you know what? Yeah. Okay. Go on.
Well, I was just going to say, as far as vaccines, look, I'm kind of in the middle on that.
Dennis, go on.
I'm kind of in the middle on where vaccines. However, in my employment, when I was employed, For 25 years, I mean, I was a public health official. I mean, I was in public safety. I took care of public health matters. It wasn't if I wanted, and I wanted that job, but I did not like getting the vaccinations every single year. And I did. And it's so I think that there's just some things that we have to kind of look at, like, it's kind of like this. Here in the U.S. we have the First Amendment and freedom of speech. However, when you take and you sign on to take a job, you forfeit. You agree to forfeit some of your rights. You cannot. I couldn't take a gun to work. They didn't allow that, but I'm allowed to carry one in my vehicle. I'm allowed to say whatever I want about my government without persecution or fear of harm. I cannot take and say that about my boss. Can't go, when I'm off work, I can go, the president, I don't like the president. But when I'm at work, I can't just go, the boss is an idiot. The boss is an idiot, and expect to not get fired. So in some ways, we forfeit some of our rights or our freedoms for things that we want. They're just not always aligned with each other. And I think that sometimes creates unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations for me this morning in that, like, I'm going to be 100% reliant and dependent upon somebody else. I didn't have a backup plan. So all of my planning that I did yesterday, I didn't end up having a backup plan. So that's how I can improve for the next time and not go, oh, wow, poor me, the rug got pulled out. Have a backup plan. That's a failure of my part because I know better.
Okay, you said giving up your freedom and rights. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, that's I'm agreeing on that.
No. I'm saying the terminology is wrong.
Okay.
I'm going to build it what Munira said. How are we going to vaccinate billions of people if it's dirt cheap? They're not. You will beg them to vaccinate you, just like if you join a country club, they say wear your pants or don't come into the dining hall. And you wear pants to go into dining hall because you want to eat in that dining hall. So if you want to fly,
vaccinate people.
If you want to fly on a certain airline, like 20 years ago after 9/11, United States of America, upon entry started registering people. And a lot of people were like, oh, no. I said, what? Don't go there. It's their country, their rule. You don't want to go. Don't go. Don't bitch about how they're doing things. It's likewise, it's your choice. So if you want certain things, I won't even say privileges. You want certain things in life, that's the price you pay. And if the price includes, have you tested for COVID? What's wrong with it? Let me go back a little while ago. AIDS, HIV, people were getting HIV tests before they got married. You want to marry me? You do your STD tests. What's wrong with
thalassemia as well.
Yeah.
In fact, thalassemia as well.
Well, thalassemia was probably by the state. All I'm saying is individuals could demand their boyfriend or girlfriend that, please show me. I'm going to spend my life with you. Do you have herpes or whatever and HIV? Shit, let's figure it out. Do you really want, I'm going to go as far. I'm going to tell you another one. I had a friend who was in the US. This is about 15 years ago, I think. And there was a couple that were engaged to be married. So he got his work permit, his work visa, H1. She got rejected. They broke off the engagement. He said, I don't have any place else to live. I want to live in this country. So the engagement was off.
Yeah.
And they actually broke up because she had to leave the US and go to some other country. You know what? You didn't complain about slavery then.
Agreed, but I'm saying the holistic level.
What holistic level?
No, agreed. We are already slave with that if we are married, obviously.
No. There's no slavery. There's no slavery. It's a choice. It's a choice.
I know. I'm just saying that the way things are going, Faisal and Dennis, we have to be in some kind of contract with the government that, okay, fine, please vaccinate us. We are unable to get jobs and whatever. So we will force ourselves to go for that. Yeah. Even though I don't want to get vaccinated, right? So that vaccination might harm me in the future with cancer or whatever. There's so many theories going around.
Oh, for God's sake. Stop listening to this theories.
See, I know. I'm saying theories are there. But I'm just asking. So, things are going that way.
Yeah,
it's okay, man.
I'm not really educated enough to know like all the ins and outs of vaccinations and what they do with the body and everything. For me, the thing I didn't like about getting vaccinated, and I don't care what anybody says, oh, you can't get sick from getting vaccines. Like I said, single time I've ended up getting a vaccination, like I got sick in some way. I didn't feel good for anywhere between 24 and 72 hours. And so, for me, I just looked at it. It's something that I kind of put out of my mind because if I wanted to continue to be employed, then I had to take the vaccinations. It's what we agreed to when we took the job. So I think that it's a complex issue. It's a complex issue as far as for future health problems. Here's the way I'm going to say this, Mr. Dinesh, is that, yeah, I might get cancer in the future from getting the vaccine, but COVID will kill me right now.
And you know what? I'm so sorry. We all have measles vaccination, tuberculosis vaccination, you know what? All kinds of vaccination. People take the common flu vaccine. So come on, give it up, man. Okay, I want to move on.
Okay.
Move on. I love this comment.
I love the comments, Mr.
Dennis?
Dinesh. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
The comment on the screen, man.
Yeah.
Back to the
listen,
Victorian England, huh?
I don't even know that I can like intelligently respond to this comment because
It's a huge cultural.
if what we're talking about is that the hymen is the test of virginity, then in my mind that I could cite several articles that's been disproven multiple times. There's plenty of females that are born without them, so it's just the way it is. I don't know.
Hang on to pull something on the screen if I can quickly find it. Yeah, here. Can't show. Get a strike if I do. So I'm in there. Very interesting here. The one on top. That's I can show it. If I show it, I'll get But here's an interesting virginity fraud.
Yeah. And I've actually seen that, and it's very informative.
It's okay. So my lovers had come. So I showed their post, the comment. Nadeem, come on, have the courage to connect on video and say it, please. I would love to see your face while you say this. And Mr. Adil Khan as well. Please come. I want to see your face. Come connect. Voice issue. Can't you hear me? Dennis, my voice.
Yeah, I can hear you great. I can hear you totally fine.
Oh, some voice issue. Okay. Anyways, so Dennis, are we going to keep in our time limit today and 45
I think
minutes?
we
or are we
absolutely
going to
should.
go on a rant like we did yesterday?
Yeah, I don't think we need to rant. Today, I think sometimes, again, we mentioned this yesterday, sometimes the way that you kick ass is that you simply show up. And sometimes the way that you kick ass is just like you get the rug pulled out from under you, and you have to have some techniques. And I know we didn't really talk about techniques or anything today, and so what I'm going to suggest to somebody or anybody that's watching, if you end up kind of getting in your mind about like, wow, okay, I'm really upset, what I'm going to suggest is take 3 to 5 minutes. Just take 3 to 5 minutes and do something that actually changes your state of mind. For me, I like to watch, I go to YouTube and I watch videos of that show The Office. So because it creates deliberate laughter, when I'm able to laugh, I release dopamine. And now that takes that cortisol and all those horrible chemicals that I don't like, and it negates them. And then I'm able to, once I kind of clear my mind, I can. That's my reset. That helps me refocus, and now I'm able to re-gauge.
All right, fair enough. Hey, Dennis, I promised this. Here's Opus.
Hey, there he is. Yeah, very nice.
It was graduation gift.
I like it. Very cool. And all I'm going to say is the last thing is to Rafia. I've never made a plan my whole life. I've winged it. That works. That I'm so glad that you said that, because that works to a point. And then you have things like what happened to me today. So you can always take, if you're really good at pivoting. For me, I'm usually pretty good at helping other people change directions really quickly, but it's a little bit more of a challenge, I think, to do it personally. So that's why I take and I look at how did I create part of this outcome this morning, and part of the way that I created it is because I didn't have a backup plan. So if I have a backup plan and somebody pulls away, or their commitment changes, I'm still good to go, and it doesn't affect me in a negative way. So that's really what the point of today is. How do we keep it from affecting myself? How do we keep it from affecting how do I keep it from affecting me and the rest of my day?
Okay,
So,
I'm gonna add here. Dennis. Depending on what line of work you're in, or what particular project is that we're talking about. But you know what? I think I've winged pretty much 85% of my life.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because when she wrote that comment, got me thinking. She's right. I've never made a plan. I've made a lot of plans, but I've improvised pretty much all my life.
I think you
which
have
is
a
pretty
plan, FQ. I think the details. I think that's what we're talking about, is you have a plan. Like we knew today that we were going to broadcast. You know that tomorrow you're going to broadcast. But what we're not going to get involved in the minutia or the details.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need a topic.
Right.
Yeah, and 15 years of my broadcasting, I've never really had a topic. It's like, get some people in, we'll bullshit. In the early few broadcasts, Dennis and I had a plan. We had a topic and we had everything.
And
now we've come to the point. Exactly, it was like drag, and now it's like 15 minutes before we go live. You go like, you got a topic, man, and then okay. Somebody wants us to comment the Pentagon release of the UFO pictures. They're not good enough, man. They're not clear enough.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
One thing
anything
is for
about this
sure.
stuff.
One thing is for sure. If anyone has a doubt, they're the only living smart people in this whole universe. You stupid.
And I agree.
We're probably the most less. Yeah.
For Mr. Khan. Mr. Khan, I watch TikTok as well. And it is because I don't even have an account. I just am kind of a voyeur on it. It is just mindless nonsense. And with the mindless nonsense, I don't have to pay attention to anything. And I can just laugh. And sometimes it's like, wow, it makes me feel better about myself while watching other people denigrate themselves. So I appreciate everybody on TikTok. Thank you so much for adding value to my life, because I laugh hysterically at you.
Absolutely. S and I gifted it to myself, as I said. Danish, thank you very much for joining in, man. We really appreciate when people I really have value, and I have great respect for people who put their face to their comments. People who just comment silently. Actually, you know what? That's the topic I wanted to have today. That if you want to get anywhere in life, you have to be noticed. And to be noticed, you have to put yourself out there. Even if people laugh at you, people humiliate you, you know what? You're the one putting yourself out. All these people, I'm not, please do not misunderstand. I'm not saying that people who are commenting are not good enough. Very much for everyone who's watching and commenting. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
But I have great value for people who actually put their face to it, because they're the ones who get noticed, who get remembered. You know what? Frankly, the time when Danish was on screen, that'll probably become the thumbnail for this video. And for him, it's a little spot on his life milestones. I'm not saying he was on some big show, but because he showed up. He presented himself with his opinions. We may not have agreed, we may have gone da-da-dee-dee-da-da-da in your comments, but come on, we had a conversation. And there's something to be said about that.
Absolutely. And hey, I just want to make sure
Rafi,
everybody knew that we're going to be starting earlier tomorrow. So Saturday's broadcast will be earlier.
We're planning to go 5 o'clock. So help us, God. Yeah?
5 o'clock
For
tomorrow.
a change, I'll have to, and he'll be in the dark.
I'll be in the dark.
Kind of.
Yes.
Kind of.
Perfect.
Okay. Yes, Rafia, we all had plans. And yeah, I went upside. Here's the thing. What language?
Yeah,
What have we said, man? Dennis, what did we say?
I don't know. I don't
Whatever,
know.
fuck that, man.
Man. Well, that's definitive. So
You know what my problem is? Okay, I'm going to make this comment.
What your problem is? Do we have enough time?
Just one quick comment. You know what? Words be words. They mean nothing. It is the association in your head, what the image you conjure up in your head, which makes it good or bad. Otherwise, it's just a word. And we talk about that. I don't remember which one. If somebody calls you a dog and you start looking for a tail, you know you're a dog. Otherwise, it's just a word. What's the big deal? We're all adults. We're grown-up people. You hear it on TV all the time. Come on, Netflix? You hear it 55,000 times a day on Netflix. So if I say it, it's like, what the F? Come on. And if I say WTF, it'd be okay. Come on, let's get out of that syndrome. Anyways, Dennis, time to say goodnight, and hopefully we will be on tomorrow, 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. Pakistan time, and 5 a.m. Your which time zone, man?
Mountain time.
Mountain
General
time, yeah.
time in United States. Cool deal. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate
Cheers.
all the comments, and keep kicking ass.
Have a good day, man.
See ya.